Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Mathematics and Natural Science Department at Padron campus, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome and thank each and every one of you for attending our presentation on utilizing technology to enhance learning process in tutoring session. This presentation is composed of two parts. Part one is going to be a live presentation conducted by the mathematics professor Luis Rodriguez at Padron campus. Professor Rodriguez is going to demonstrate the integration of Surface Pro tablet and the OneNote software as one of the methods he uses in the classroom. Part two is going to be presented by lab instructor Jose Alarcón and myself, Ileana Carballosa, from the STEM section at Padron campus. This second presentation is based on the incorporation of the Artist-inspired software to Blackboard Collaborate Ultra during tutoring sessions. Good morning, Professor Rodriguez. The stage is yours.
Good morning, Ileana, and good morning, everyone else. So just to briefly introduce myself, I'm Luis Rodriguez, as I was just introduced. I teach math at the Padron campus. So let me begin by sharing my screen. All right, so first of all, I have been teaching using a tablet since 2017, so it has now been 3 years. So this whole switch over to remote during the pandemic was not that hard on me, in the sense that I was already making use of technology in the classroom. While I was physically in the classroom, I would just connect my tablet. I have a Surface Pro that I purchased just for this purpose, and I'm able to connect the tablet to the projector, and then I'm able to make use of the OneNote software in order that I will be showcasing now in order to impart all of my lectures. So today, the purpose of the presentation is just to show what I was actually doing this entire semester while at home. And from the things that I will be showing you that I do on OneNote, you can take away, whatever applies to your situation, what you could make use of in your specific circumstances. All right, so the software that I use to give my classes is OneNote. Remember that when I do so, if I'm in the classroom, I have the tablet connected to the projector. And now that I'm at home, I just share my screen as I am doing it with you right now. So I will just give you an overview. This is, again, my lecture notes for this very semester, and just giving you a glimpse of the things that could be done on this software. Nothing fancy, but at the same time, very useful. And my students seem to like it, and I also like it a lot. So, for example, here on this lecture of October 14th, so obviously I have a pen, I can write on the screen, I can make use of the colors that you can see up here. Right now, all the writing that you see is obviously in white, but when I make diagram or graphs and so on, I make use of different colors just to, emphasize certain things. So, for example, here you're seeing a lecture that I gave. The reason that I chose this specific date is because of some graphing components that I want to show. So I'm slowly scrolling this. I don't know how fluid or smooth it looks on your end, but usually the kind of problems that I had in the classroom when teaching was that, although I may know the math, when it comes time to make a drawing or show a picture that I had to do so by hand, I always had a lot of difficulties in portraying that how it should be. So here, first of all, you can see that this software, besides just me being able, to write whatever I want, it also has graphing capabilities, in the sense that if I get a function And let's just do one of the simplest cases. So let's say the standard parabola y equals x squared. Then I am able, so this software is able to recognize handwriting in here. I guess that's my fault, but you see how it's recognizing the y as being a number 9. So again, you have to be careful when you write. So let's try that again. So here you can see that it recognizes what I wrote with my handwriting. And from here, I am able to, generate a graph. This graph, I can zoom in as much as I want, zoom out. And then once I have the look that I desire, I can go ahead and insert it on the page. And once I insert it on the page, I can position it anywhere I want, make it bigger, and so on. So this, for me, opened up a lot of like opportunities in order to include graphs in my lectures that otherwise doing them by hand would just be impossible, or they just wouldn't come out as well. So here you can see another example that once again, without having to do them by hand, I can produce the graph of the function that is being dealt with, and then I can do even my own writing on top of it. I just saw a chat message. I don't. Oh, okay, sorry. That's what I do with my students, by the way. I hear that bump, and I have to go over and see what is happening. So as you can see, when I'm writing, I make use of different colors in order to illustrate different components. And I just think that this allows you to do very nice lectures. And also the fact that all of this that I'm writing is not just going to get erased in 3 minutes, right? All of this is being saved. And at the end of my lectures with my students, I am able to generate a PDF out of this that I then go ahead and put in Blackboard, so that the students, if they want, they don't need to take any notes. They can just pay full attention to me, and so on. All right, so let me just go to another lecture just to show you different things. So now November 18th. So this was another lecture. Let me go back to the beginning. So here we were finding the equation of the tangent line corresponding to the graph of a given equation. So we found the derivative. With that, we ended up obtaining the slope, just mathematical lingo. And then after we managed to get everything, specifically what the question was asking about the equation of the tangent line, I wanted to generate a graph of that. All right, so first of all, at this point, I'm going to show you that this software, while I like it a lot, it does have limitations. So here, the equation that we were doing everything with is this equation here. And so I already have it written here, so that if I go to select it in order to graph it as I did earlier. So first of all, notice that it does recognize what I wrote, the y cube plus x cube, and so on. But when I go to graph it, it says that OneNote cannot complete the graph evaluation, because it turns out that this equation is actually, this curve is actually complicated to the point that this software itself cannot do it. So, I mean, it's a good thing to be aware of the limitations that you're dealing with. Now, when that happens, what I always do is that I make use of Wolfram Alpha. So in Wolfram Alpha, it's a software that it has a lot more capabilities. So in here, I can just come and I can put the command to plot that equation. And then this is able to produce the graph for me. And so whenever that happens, then with my pen, I just click the button that I have it programmed, so that when I do that, it just takes like a screenshot of my entire screen, and then I'm able to select the portion that I want. So when I do that, you can see how everything goes dark, and then I can just select whatever I want to copy, and then that automatically goes to my clipboard, and then I can just come here to OneNote, and I can go ahead and just paste what I just copied. And so you can see how that has just been placed in here, which is the same thing that I did with my class that you can see on the left side. So just to be aware that if you ever encounter anything that this OneNote cannot do, you can always make use of outside resources, and you can incorporate them into your lecture immediately. Like when I was giving this lecture, I did that on the spot with my students. I went to Wolfram Alpha quickly, got the graph, copied it, and then I introduced it in my lecture. And then after that, I'm able to do the usual things that I do, that I was then, for example, this equation of the tangent line that we were obtaining, I then graphed it myself, and then I was able to write on top of this, and so on. All right, so another lecture to show here, November 25th. So here, let me go back. So I'll be going quicker. The time is passing by. So here we were just obtaining information about a function. So here you can see that once again I generated a graph. This was done with OneNote, and then I'm able to write on top of it. So once again, giving my lecture, writing all the details, and then once it comes time to produce the graph, once again, I don't need to do so manually. I think that you can see my frustration that I had whenever I had to, make an accurate sketch of the graph, that it was so time consuming to do by hand that being able to get it generated on the spot is actually a huge time saver, and it provides accurate details in order to, talk about everything that we need to talk about regarding the function. So here, once again, we are able to produce the graph. And it's not just the graph. I just want you to look at the type of notes that could be made, how we can showcase all of this information to our students from the point of view of the professor, but also from the point of view of a tutor, if that is the situation. All right, so another lecture to show you, December 4th. So here we're doing the curve sketching, the graphing of a function by figuring out all of the details, the extremas, the inflection points, and so on. So of course I do everything manually because that's what I'm supposed to be teaching them. And so we do all the derivative charts to find all the function information and so on, and then we are able to generate the graph. Now, in this section here, the purpose was to be able to generate the graph manually by yourself. And so here, all of this is just finding out all of the information that is needed about a function in order to come up with the graph. So here you can see how I did so myself. This graph, I did it by hand. So you can see, of course, all these imperfections that you can see here, because I guess I don't have a steady hand, right? So you can see all those like wavy things and so on. So I did that just so that the student knows that from all the information that we obtain, we are able to generate this graph manually. It just doesn't come out looking as pretty as being computer generated, right? So what I also started doing was that I did my own graph with my hands, and then I went ahead and generated the graph using the software, so that the student can see that everything that we just found up here, all of these details that we then put into this graph, that they were all correct, that the horizontal asymptotes are indeed as they occur, the fact that this function doesn't have any extrema, that it has an inflection point that you can see here, that we made sure to notice here, and so on. So let me just continue scrolling. So same thing, another example of figuring out all of these details. And then once again, here the graph that I drew myself from all the details that we found, and then the graph that this software managed to do as well. All right, so this was my calculus class. Let me now go quickly to my 1033. So you can see, by the way, that here on the left side, I have all of the classes that I was teaching this semester. So I have like everything organized in OneNote. This is my everything regarding my teaching of the lectures. So here in 1033, for example, I also want to show that you can insert like worksheets into here. So for example, for 1033, we have a diagnostic test that I like to give at the very beginning of the semester. So I just go and I insert that worksheet into here, and then once the worksheet is inserted, I am able to write on top of it, as you can you can see that I did in here. So that's a very nice capability, because any that you have or that you find that you want to solve with your students, it's just a matter of, again, inserting them here, and then you're free to do whatever you want on top of it. So here will be an example of another worksheet that, again, I inserted here, and then I solved all the problems with them, and so on. Another will be November 24. Another worksheet. Let me just make everything bigger. And so here you can see all the problems in the worksheet that, again, this was a blank worksheet I inserted, and then as part of our class was to just go ahead and do all of the problems that were present. And lastly, I also want to show some things here. So for example, these are some things that I pre-wrote just to have them ready for this presentation here. So I don't know what happened with that tree. Let me rewrite it. All right, so for example, here, if I were to select one of these equations only, we recognize that that's a linear equation. So this is going to, the graph is going to be a line. So we do the math icon, and then you see how it, once again, recognizes my handwriting. And here, when I put select in action, I can just put graph in 2D, and you can see that it gives me the graph of that line that you can see there. And then, as I explained earlier, I can just insert it on the page, and I can move it around and put it anywhere I want, and make it bigger in size, and so on. But also, and of course, if I do the same thing for the second one, it does the same thing, recognizes my handwriting, and it creates the graph of the line. But even more than that, if I were to select everything with the big brace in front of it, so that it recognizes that it is a system of equations, so that both equations are to be considered at the same time, then you can see how, once again, it recognizes both equations, and when it goes to graph, it does the graphing of both lines at the same time. This is incredibly useful when you are teaching systems of equations, either in 1033 or 1105, that you have to see the point of intersection to find the solution of the system, and so on. Now, another thing that I wanted to show, so here we have a function, degree 4 polynomial. So once again, I hit here where it says math on the upper right corner. It recognizes my handwriting, what the function formula is, and then I am able to go ahead and generate a graph, as you can see here. And also notice on the bottom right how it says key graph features. If I were to hit that, it opens all of this in here, so that it is mathematically aware, in the sense that it has a mathematical engine working here that it tells you all of the usual features that you would like to have about a function. So it tells you what the zeros are, what the y-intercept is, what the minima and maxima, in other words, the extrema, what is the domain, what's the range, what are the inflection points, the monotonicity of the function, and so on. And as if I start checking these boxes, you can see how those items start showing up on the graph. So since I selected the zeros, you can see those three, I don't know what color that is, cyan or green or blue, whatever. So you can see those 3 points in there corresponding to the zeros of the function, right? If I were to, let's say, the minima, you can then see that point down there, and so on. So this gives you a lot of information and a lot of flexibility. And now I'm almost done, because I am not aware of the time. The last thing is this equation. So we recognize this as being, very, very easy equation, linear equation of one variable. So we know how to solve this, right? We isolate the x and so on. So I wanted to show two things. So first of all, the fact that with an equation, because I was just showing you how to graph functions, but with an equation, I can also go ahead and select to solve for x. And you can see that when I put to solve for x, it tells us the solution. It says x equals -3, and you can go ahead and plug in -3 into the x, and you will see that it is indeed the solution to the equation. But even more than that, let's say that you're a professor and you're showing an example to a student, or you're a tutor and you're doing the same thing. Then notice how here it has a button that says generate a practice quiz. So it knows what type of equation you're working with, you have just selected. And then when you click to generate a practice quiz, you select the number of questions that you have on the quiz. Let's just keep it at 3, but you can put whatever you want. And then when you put to generate the quiz, it will auto-generate 3 questions that are of the same type of equation. So that means that all of them are about linear equations. It auto-generates the answer choices to make the multiple choice, and so on. So here you can see the 3 equations. And I find that this is extremely, first of all, cool, and second of all, useful in order to use it while you're teaching a class, or that you're helping a student with tutoring. And so that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Professor Rodriguez. This is very important step, as we know the issue of the students with the notes. Having the notes accurate, this is not only save time or a time saver, this is a success. Very helpful.
And one more thing. I saw that they were asking about the software. So indeed, is OneNote. Also, just one thing that I forgot to mention. So right now, Microsoft has 2 versions of OneNote. They are in the process of merging them and creating only one app that does everything. But you can see here how I have on my desktop OneNote and then OneNote All. This is because they have different capabilities. So where I do all my teaching is in the newer OneNote, which is what I was just showing you about. But for some reason, Microsoft did not include in the newer version the creation of PDFs from those lecture notes. So for that, I use the old one that has that capability. So you will see that it looks, more outdated, but everything is synchronized. So whatever I do on one, it shows up automatically in the other one. And the only reason that I opened this one is just to create the PDF that I put on Blackboard for my students. So for example, this lecture here, let's say that I want to create a PDF and so that I can give it to my students. Then I just go here to where it says export as PDF, and I go ahead and I export it, and it is going to create a PDF file with these lecture notes. You will see that the file that is created has the usual white background. I don't know if you noticed, but I have my tablet in dark mode. This is just to save battery and because I don't like the brightness. But when the PDF is created, it's in the usual that the background is white and all the writing is in black, which is basically inverted from the way that it looks here. So these PDFs, I then go to Blackboard and I put it in Blackboard, and on Blackboard I have a folder called lecture notes, and then my students in there can see all the lecture notes of the entire semester. So yeah, that's
okay. All. Thank you.
So I don't know if I'm done. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Professor Rodriguez. Thank you very much. Very helpful. Okay, now we will continue with part 2. As the main objective of part 2, we plan to share with you the process of integrating the Aptis-inspired software with Blackboard, and to share some tips and techniques we have acquired while using it in the tutoring sessions. But first, we will talk a little bit about the software. The Aptis-inspired software is a collaborative lesson delivery software for interactive displays. It is used around the world, as it provides an immense collection of tools to create and deliver dynamic lessons. It offers hundreds of free features to enhance performance in classrooms, virtual or physical modality. That is the reason that we have found it very helpful, very useful, especially with the current teaching and learning style. In addition, it is simple to install and very friendly to work with. At the end of this presentation, we have saved some time, I believe, to make you a live demonstration of some features of this software. This is a very simple step, but I have to talk about it to avoid mistakes for you. For example, the download of Artisan-Inspired software should be done from the Promethean Planet site. Once there, you should select Download Page and follow the instructions, such as select the language and operating system based on your device. You will receive immediately an email containing a link to download the Artisan-Inspired software. However, be attentive, because the only one version that is free is named Artisan-Inspired Studio. In a few moments or at the end of the presentation, we will share with you the link via chat if you wish to download it later. Another important information is that you can create a free account in Promethean Planet that will bring you other benefits, such as using other users' files from diverse subjects. You can create your own file to be shared with others, which is optional. And you can get access to more resources on Artisan-Inspired that are only found through the Promethean site. Another important information is that the one unique feature of Artisan-Inspired is that files you create or copy are named flipcharts, and they can only be created, opened, or edited from within the software. As this is an interactive process, there must be a way to exchange work with the students. Therefore, we recommend these three following actions. So first, you should download the Artisan-Inspired software. The second step is to obtain an electronic pen in case you don't have a touchscreen device. For example, many of our tutors have been using the XP Pen G430S, which is affordable and easy to work with. However, let me advise you that it might take some practice sometimes to improve the handwriting while using this or any digital pen. And for those who are interested, we also be sending the link via chat for the recommended digital pen. And number three is to share the Blackboard screen application and work on the Artisan-Inspired software or platform. Okay, this is our desktop. Please notice the different icons on the desktop. The electronic pen icons is displayed with a triangle and the Artisan-Inspired software with an ellipse. We did it on purpose for you to identify their location on our desktop. After having these two icons or application active, you should use the Share application screen on Blackboard Collaborate to display the Artisan-Inspired platform, which means that you will work on Artisan-Inspired software through Blackboard. So we click to launch the Artisan-Inspired application. Immediately, the dashboard will always pop out to make it easier and faster to access the recent used flipcharts, to create a new one, to download other users' files, to activate the time clock, and there are many other tools. Also from the dashboard, in the resource library option, we can find many resources. This slide illustrates the basic flipchart screen. There are two menu bars. Also, please note that on the top of the screen, there is a little blue icon resembling a robot. That is a symbol of the dashboard. Now it is closed, but it can be activated at any time when you need it. The left side shows the flipchart pages, also known page browser. similar to the slide in a PowerPoint document. In the right side, a menu bar is displayed with multiple tools, which can be used during a tutoring session or in the classroom. All the options of this right menu bar are condensed in the menu bar that is on top of the screen. So you may choose your desired display. Please note that you can hide or move the menu bar on the right as needed. We will show later how it looks at different places to make you more room for the problem or exercise with the students. Also, there can be multiple flip charts opened to facilitate the tutoring sessions with different students or subjects simultaneously. Where you found it. So you can find all these flip charts on the top of the screen, or if there are many, by clicking on the three dots next to the dashboard icon. You will find also new features, new resources as you become more familiar with the software and with the updates. Okay, now the lab instructor, Jose Alarcón, is going to explain the process with the students already in tutoring session.
Good morning, everyone. So continuing, once the student shares a document in any format, we can use the snipping tools to select the exercise or exercises that students need help with by clicking enter on the desired page. From here, we are free to assist the students by using all the available tools. In this slide, you may appreciate a portion of a student study guide and the subsequent pages with problems that have been isolated to make more space to work on each exercise. It is important to notice some of the features that make the software a good tool to utilize during the tutoring session, such as the opportunity to work on students' handouts, save the files we have been working on, and forward it to the students in a PDF file. We can also zoom in or out of the page to make room for the entire problem, or may extend the page if necessary. Additionally, the software is equipped with multiple mathematics supporting tools, such as line grids, background, coordinate system, equation writing, among others. The slide illustrates portions of math tutoring sessions, where the tutor makes usage of a pen to denote the parts in a solving process. For example, the tutor indicates the formula, the development of the method, and checking for real solutions in different colors. Please keep in mind that all annotations will be safe and may be emailed to the students for future references. This is time-saving, as the tutor may use the same flip charts to assist other students. You may also notice that the right menu bar appears on the bottom of the screen. This slide illustrates an excerpt of a biology tutoring session. The tutor used ActiveInspire to display a genetic problem dealing with recessive and dominant alleles. Additionally, the tutor utilized the tools on ActiveInspire to highlight terminology required to solve the problem, and inserted the definition for recessive and dominant alleles. Also, tutors provide a key for the students to remember what genotype will cause the offspring to be normal, dwarf, or unable to sustain life past a year. At the end of the session, the tutor emails the file to the students for future reference. We will admit the summarize. Sorry, can you hear me? We all should admit that summarizing the benefits of technology in the learning process is not a simple statement. Today, advances in technology is a matter of time in terms of hours, minutes, and even seconds. However, we can say that technology eases the access to information, provides endless possibilities to improve learning outcomes, and to enhance learning skills. With technology, tutors are able to bring simulation and modeling into the remote sessions to assist students. As a result, it helps to improve teaching by enhancing collaboration between student, tutors, and/or instructors, and it helps to increase student engagement and facilitates immense tools and resources required for student success.
Okay, now we're gonna share with you how this works in the real life. We're gonna share the screen, so this takes a little bit. Be patient. Let me share the screen so that you can see how the ActInspire works with Blackboard.
Just want to remind you while Ileana is presenting this live presentation, to please hold all your questions towards the end of the presentation. If time permits, we'll get to them. If not, remember that everything is being recorded and you have access to it.
Let me see. Is my microphone on? Is my microphone on?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. The only situation on the only bad things by using ActInspire is that when you launch it from Blackboard, you don't see Blackboard anymore because you are using the entire screen to work with the student. So like in here, I'm not aware if I'm in or out. Okay, as you see, this is how it looks like. Over here we have the dashboard. This is the thing that appears, the image that you see as soon as you click on the link of the application. So here you have all the recent flip charts that we can watch and to create when or look for it, and many other things that you have in this dashboard. Let us go to, okay, we can close here. Let me show you this on the top. These are the flip charts recently. If you need to look for more using these three dots, you can look for them. There I'm going to list it. We have open now Mike 1105 Final Study Guide for this semester. This is the right menu bar that I told you. So sometimes you prefer to work on the entire screen. So in this little arrow, you can roll up. It's hidden. Or you can just make enlarge and go to the three dots and move wherever you want. You can put on the top. So you have in here, which we consider more suggestible. As you can go down to the screen, you can extend the page. There are many things you can do here. Okay, also, let me see what else. Sometimes you don't want to have the page browser with you. You can also remove it. You go to the view and remove the browser. And this gives you the opportunity to enlarge your work. So to use the entire screen with the student. Everything that you do here is safe in the PDF format. In order to save it, you just need to select, like you go to print, you select to print, and go to export to PDF. Otherwise, it's gonna be saved just as a flip chart format, which only compatible with ActInspire software. Okay, so for example, let me show you student Jane Smith. This is a portion of the problem of the study guide. So as you see here, we have make it a little bit larger for the student, but sometimes it's recommendable or a student prefer to have everything in one page. So that, of course, can be done. So you can just copy and make all of them together, and you can even use more space. You know, you can draw a line And in one page, you can make like a canvas. So everything in one page. Yes. Oh, sorry. Everything is in one page. So many things can be done from Actis Inspire. We know that our time is a little bit limited. Let me see what else. Any question that you have, because as you see, this is very helpful for the student to differentiate the problem, the theory, and when you save it, you have for now and for later for the student. So, okay, suppose that this page you want to, you need to work further. Let me go to this one, which is less crowded. So you might perfectly go to view, and you can extend the page. The thing that, let me hide it, because maybe I make it smaller so that I can see. Okay, you see here the symbol. Just think I'm sharing the screen with you. Oh, let me move over here. That's better. Okay, this allows you to make larger the screen. There are some situations where you work with the student and you need the problem to be in one page, because that problem has to be in one page. So you can extend this page as farther as you need.
Ileana, it's Leslie. I hate to interrupt, but I just want to give you the warning that you have. It's 11:42. We have 3 minutes left before
Yes.
this session.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now, let's stop sharing and we will return with you to answer any question you might have and to tell you that you can contact us anytime. We have many tutors that have been working with this system and they're happy. Regarding the link, we're gonna share the link. The link will appear in the future folders when the whole thing is recorded or saved. We're gonna put the link so that you can use it. And remember that the main formula to succeed is great instructor using technology. That's why we put it back, this quotation from the former U.S. Secretary of Education, Ann Duncan. So thank you for participating or attending in our presentation. Have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ileana. This was excellent. Both your piece and the professor's piece were great to see. And I think there's definitely an opportunity to use this beyond STEM. We could definitely use this in our writing tutoring as well. So thank you, everyone, for participating. I have pasted the session in the chat. I will paste it again so that it is in your window. Please join the main room, and we will see you there shortly. Everybody have a wonderful holiday break and New Year's.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.